Well, hello and welcome. I'm so excited. Welcome. No, do you know what? Anyway, sorry. Hello and welcome to Arts and Wellness Café. If this is your first time, I'm Amanda, your host, and we're in my studio. So I was just thinking to myself, let me just fix myself. But you know what? When I look back on some of the recordings, I'm always kind of like, let me adjust myself in the chair. But it's important for you to be comfortable, and that ties in with the word which we touched on last week, which is aware, and thinking about, are you aware about how you're feeling? As I sit in this chair, am I aware of the positioning of my body? Am I sitting in an uncomfortable position? Can you feel the things that you're leaning on? And there is going to be some, my son's, I don't know what he's doing next door, but he's playing his music loud. There's no red light here. So I can feel the cushion, and it's not actually positioned in the right place, and my back is not totally against the back of the chair. So let me reposition myself. I've positioned the cushion a bit lower, and it's that kind of thing that you need to think about. That's one of the things about being aware. But the things I touched on in the podcast, which I'll leave the link, is, are you aware about the impact of your work? Are you aware of the things that you do and how you affect other people? Sometimes we can, go along our bright and merry way and not be conscious of what's going on around us. Sometimes, or not be conscious of the kind of energy that other people are sending out. And sometimes we can feel it. Like, I noticed that recently there's I hope he doesn't watch Arts and Wellness Cafe. But there's this guy who cuts the grass for next door, but he's got a really kind of heavy energy about him, and Cole doesn't like it. Well, Cole barks at everybody, but he at one point he was seeing him all the time because he was doing a lot of work over there, and he barks like, that's the first time he's ever seen him, and he's going to make him very aware that he doesn't like him. But he sent off a vibe, and I know that you understand about the vibes that other people can bring, the energy, and you can feel that. And it's important for us to be aware not only about the energies we're picking up from other people, which is important, but what we're sending out ourselves. And think about what you're saying about yourself and what you're portraying about yourself, because you could be, a whole load of negative stuff in your mind that you do unconsciously. Oh, I'm no good at this. Oh, this is so rubbish. Oh, I can never do this. Or, and that's the critic talking. And especially when you bring in your creativity, it's just like it goes into overdrive, but then you're not aware of how bad it is until you say something. Like, I heard somebody come up to present something, and the first words out of their mouth was, oh, I'm so rubbish at this. It was like, what? I was like, what? Why are you saying that? But my experience of her in the past was that she was very articulate, but she came, as like a group of, it was like an important event. And it was just like, why are you saying this about yourself? This doesn't match what I've always experienced. And it didn't match what she then went on to do. So you have to be aware of what you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself, when you're creating, your creativity, the impact it makes on, the impact it makes on other people, but the impact it makes on you when you're actually making. Do you actually take the time to prepare your environment? Or, if you're writing, I've said in a previous Arts and Wellness Cafe that your book should be that special place. You shouldn't have to have, must be chasing after a cat. So I don't know whether you heard that. But you shouldn't have to have a special chair, a special pen, a special this and that, and physical things that have to be right before you actually sit down and write or sketch. But make the book the special place so that wherever you are, you can actually do it. And I'm not to say, it's not to say that you're not going to have a special pen, but don't allow that, well, I'm not sitting at my table, so I'm not sitting at my special desk, so I'm not going to be able to write today. I have to go and tell him to turn it down. It's like you couldn't hear me tapping on the wall. Anyway, so right now we're going to take a look at an art journal page, and it's a where is it? It's in here. I've got so many journals. It's just like, at the moment I've just been working and it's sometimes in terms of being able to keep up with oneself, doesn't matter. Anyway, we're going to do this art journal page, and I did the page, and it just felt, because I do a lot of like doodling and marks in the face, it's just, when I came back to it, it just felt a bit empty. So I just spent some time doing some doodling. So this is a very good opportunity for you to even, maybe watch the process, but have a book, a journal that you can say, just do some doodling, or create faces and then doodle in the faces, however you want to do it, and just take some time out just to think about how you're feeling. So as you're doodling, you could be mulling over, reflecting and things like that. So let's go and look at the page. Okay, so what did you get any done yourself? Can you think of, some that you can possibly do if you've kind of done faces, or even if you've just done like a background and you want to kind of work on the background, do some doodling on the background, and like this. So this is one that I've shown already, with where you've got a face and a doodle, and then this one is just the background, and you'd be amazed at how relaxing it is. So yes, so it's very relaxing. I highly recommend it. So okay, so the tip for the week is, how do you, or can you, adapt your supplies? So as mixed media artists, and I did this as well when I wasn't a mixed media artist. It's you buy so many supplies, another one comes on the market and you feel you have to have that one. And if you think about how many glues you can think of that are on the market, and there's one brand I know that have got, like, even if you look at Mod Podge, like there's first of all, I came across the glossy and the matte, and then there was outdoor, there was paper, there was jewellery, there was, a whole range of different Mod Podges that you could use. And the same with, there was another one, is it Beacon? I'm not sure, anyway, but they've got like about 50, or it seems like that. There's like 100 different glues, and you think to yourself, well, as a mixed media artist, I need to have all of them. And I recently came across one that was the hardware store selling, and it's for marine. So you can use it on boats basically, and it can get wet. So I was just like, oh, I've definitely got to have that one. So we can buy so many supplies, and well, when we think of things like glue, it may be that yes, you do need the right glue for the right supply. And I found myself questioning my son the other day. It was just like, oh, have you got any glue for metal? And I was just like, what kind of metal are you putting together? And he was just like being so kind of, mysterious. And I was just like, there's so many glues on the market, and you can't glue metal. So you need a, soldering iron, which I do have. And I haven't had a chance to use it yet. I'm itching to do a jewellery project where I make these bezels, I think they're called. And then you can inlay, I don't know, other things in there, in image, or, some jewellery or whatever. I really want to make one of those, but I need to take a class on soldering so that I can use my tool correctly. But in the end, it was just like, I think he wanted to glue together metal and a magnet, and it was just like, so what is it your and it's funny that, like, I'll think to myself, oh yes, asking him 101 questions, because I was aware that there's so many out there. And so when you do a course, or when you do a project, what I would say is that you do need tools that are of quality, good quality. And so I'm not saying that you go out and buy the most expensive, and you buy like I did with my Pro Marker pens, the whole colour range, but buy the primary colours and maybe the secondary colours, and see how you get on with that supply. But when you come to, like, like a course or whatever, and they're, say, using watercolour pencils, and you don't have that exact brand, use what you have. Or, you may be able to do it in a water-soluble crayon or whatever. Obviously, if you like saying, well, no, of course I've got to buy it, then, I'm not saying no, but I'm saying it's probably better for you to see what you have and see what you can use. Because one of the things I do recommend is that when you try out a particular lesson or class, that you try it out in different mediums. So yes, they may have done it in watercolors. See what it's like in acrylics, or get out your watercolor crayons and see what that's like. And you get familiar, and this is how you get familiar with the supplies and the tools, but you also get familiar with the subject matter. You may find interesting things. You might say to yourself, yeah, well, she did it in pastels, but I really actually like it in the watercolor or the acrylics, or even the neocolors, which is one of my favorites. But think about how you can adapt your supplies. There's some things you do need within your toolkit, and as a mixed media artist, yes, there are things that you do need to have. And but again, see what you do have, see how you can adapt it, and take a trip to the hardware store, because often they sell similar things, like masking tape. If you buy it from a craft store, it's going to be more expensive than a hardware store. Or I found I brought a mallet because I was doing what was it? I had these stamps and banging into leather. The mallet cost me £24. Went to the hardware store, a mallet, it was just like a £5, and it was just like, really? But at the time, I really needed a mallet. It was just like, I've got to have a mallet because I'm buying these, they're metal word stamps, letter stamps. And so you had the mallet, and then you had this little, it's like a granite little square, so you put the leather on, and then it's supposed to absorb the noise or absorb something, anyway. But I was just like, when I went to the hardware store, I was just like, look at that. I could have got, and then I went and I had to get the mallet from the hardware store, so I've got two. But so that's the tip. And so we're going to take a look at, I did a book review of this book, Layered Tattered Stitch, and what I do say is it's a lovely book. It's one of my favourites. It's by artist Ruth Ray, and she's got some really lovely examples in. For some of the things you do need a sewing machine. If you don't mind hand sewing, then you could get around it like that. I think you do need a bit of experience with working with fabrics, and so there are some projects that you can just do straight off the bat, but some of the others you'll need to gather your supplies and kind of really look at what the instructions are. So let's have a look at the book and let me know what you think. Layered, Tattered and Stitched, a fabric art workshop. Collage, beading, photo transfer. Okay, so with Layered, Tattered and Stitched, this is one of my favourite books. It's split into two sections, and at the back it's got patterns, then resources, clip art, and a bit about the author. So it's full of projects that you can make. 3, 6, 9... 10, over 20, or is that 19 or 18? 18 projects for you to make. And I love the use of mixed media. So in the beginning she talks about your tools and supplies, and she goes into quite a bit of detail as to how you would use them, or how she would use them. And then it goes straight into some of the projects. Now I think the projects are both for beginners and for the more experienced. And if you're a beginner and you're looking at a project, just simplify it. It goes through all of the tools, and you get step-by-step instructions to create it. And it gives you some additional tips and a bit more inspiration. It's got inspiration jar, colour. If you want to change the colour, you can adapt the colour. You don't have to use the colour that the author has written. And as you can see, as you go through the book, keeps that kind of format. It gives you the how to make it, additional things that you can do, and more tips that you can try. and it gets you using your stash. If you've got paper stash, if you've got fabric, it's more fabric stash. If you think fabric, stencils and stamps and beading, this is it's a very yummy book. I mean, the thing that attracted me was the image on the front, and looking at all of the detail, the beading, the colours that are used, and the stamp words that are on this fabric. Now, some of the projects will call for you to use a sewing machine, but again, you know, if you don't have a sewing machine, you can try hand stitching. You can keep it simple and take your time. But if you do have a sewing machine, it does make some of the projects a lot quicker. Yeah, as I said, this was one of my favourite projects I'm yet to make, but it's on my list of things to make. It's a hinged door. But yeah, if you're not familiar with some of the materials that are used, take some, you know, courses so that you can get familiar. So at the back we've got some templates that you can use for the projects that she refers to at the back, and then we've got the resources. So I've had that for years, and I'm hoping to. The sun's going down soon. So yeah, I've been meaning to do some of the projects, and I will do, because I'm slowly getting myself back into the stitching, and as it goes. But my bonus lesson, which is on Lifebook, has recently aired. So you'll be able to see a stitch project. It's a very simple one, gathering some supplies and putting them together. And it's really a good way for you to just, you know, if you're wanting to dip your feet in, you know, you'll definitely have all the supplies. So try it out. You know, and I think sometimes we look at projects like that, because the other project I did was creating a three-dimensional little canvas with a heart, but it's got a bit that's quite messy, so you've kind of got to be feeling it to do it. And sometimes that can be the same with you know, say some of the stitch projects, because I guess traditionally Lifebook is you're working in your art journal and painting, and so there have been over the years other projects which include either working with clay, working with fabric, weaving and things like that. And you can, you know, there are things that you can transfer from, say, a stitch project into your art journal. What is that, you ask? Well, things like stitching. So you could stitch paper, stitch fabric, put fabric into your art journal. You can stitch onto a piece of card, or stitch a piece of fabric onto card and then apply that to your art journal. You could stick it in your art journal. So there's ways in which, and it's, you know, if you can adapt your supplies, you can adapt different techniques. So I hope that, you know, if you did sign up for Lifebook, that you take a look, and remember to sign up for the taster sessions for 2022, because they're going on, and they're on at the moment, and there's 30 different taster sessions, and there's free, you know, downloads and gifts with those as well. So definitely take a look at that. And the other new thing is I've launched my second course. So I'll leave the link below and you can take a look. It's called Playing Card Art, and it's working on large playing cards. Now, for most of us, we have a set of playing cards lying about, and I'm sure if you visited the dollar store, then you've brought a large packet of playing cards saying to yourself, I'm going to alter these. And so what this does, it shows you how to alter the surface and then add layers to it, and then put a face to it. So you've got some really nice texture, some lovely layers coming through. And yeah, it's a really nice course. It's just a short, about 1.5 hours, and it's got there's a digital download of art materials, art papers that you can also use if you don't have your own, but you get that as part of the course as well. So it would be lovely to have you join me on the course. And again, let's kind of round things up and think about the word about being aware. Even though I'm telling you about my course, I'm telling you about the courses that are online, we can very often sign up for so many things. So just be aware about the things that you want to learn where you are at the moment, and come over and take a look at my course. But it's something that you need to constantly do. And that leads us into the question of the week, which is, are you pretending? And why? Why are you pretending? Now, what came to me when I first had that question, and I said to myself, right, this is a question I want to ask. It was something that I did or used to do when I was working. And I used to find, I guess the long and short of it is that I used to find the work not challenging. So I would leave things to the last minute. And then I got into the leave things to the last minute, and that's your most creative time. But what I realized was that if I had, done all the things that I needed to do, I would have been able to have done more, or, be able to have thought about other things, new things that I could do. But if you're leaving things to the last minute because you don't find these things challenging, and you can do them with your eyes closed, it's like you could have given yourself time to do your own stuff. And I find that sometimes I do that in my work. If I don't have a deadline, then things stretch. Look at my altars. I wanted to get my altars done. I've started on some new pieces, and it's just well, how are you gonna get those ones done if you've now filled your time with something new? So think about, so I was pretending that, if I think about it, I was pretending that I needed to leave everything to the last minute to myself, when it was just you actually are quite bright, and so because I need to shine my light. When you start shining your light, so many things fall into place, and you can often, because you don't want to be seen as it's like you wanted to fit in, and you can't. You have to shine your light. Yeah, you can't wait for other people to accept you. You can't dullen your light so other people will accept you. You have to shine your light. And it's getting darker and darker in here, but you can't dullen your light. So if you're pretending that you have to wait before you do all these things, or you're leaving all these things so that you feel challenged, you could have just done these things anyway and found new challenges, more interesting challenges that would whet your appetite. So stop playing small. Whoever I'm speaking to needs to hear that. I know I need to hear it myself. Stop playing small, shine your light, get on with it. Step out of your own way. These are all phrases that we've heard. Why are you in your own way? The only person that's stopping you is you. So let me know what you've been pretending, and how you're going to rectify that. And think about being aware of your impact, the impact that you're making. Because if you're playing small, or if you're dulling your light, you can't make an impact, the same impact that you would have made if you just came in there and did what you needed to do. So that said, I hope that you found some of the things interesting, the book review, the art journal, the tip of the week, and I look forward to welcoming you on my new course. I look forward to seeing if you get on with the Stitch project on Lifebook, and yeah, just look forward to hearing from you, and I will see you again very soon. Take care for now.